In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at two starter champions, Elhain and Athel. So it's 2023, start of a new year, and people love to make free-to-play accounts, new accounts, and the big question is, who's the best starter? Well, in today and possibly tomorrow's video, I'm probably on vacation at the time of you watching this video, unless of course you're watching it months down the road, then I'm probably back from vacation. But either way, we're going to take Athel and Elhain, put them head to head, and see who comes out on top. So how we're going to test this is in three different areas. We're going to do Minotaur, Clan Boss, and Dragon Stage 23. Now, if you've watched my channel before, you'll know that in my Champ versus Champ series, we make everything equal. So Athel, we have no Faction Guardian benefits. We have no blessings, nothing. Obviously, no blessings because she's not ascended or anything like that. Well, not awakened. Skills, fully booked on both of these champions, and the masteries are exactly the same. All the masteries are non-RNG dependent. So there's no War Master, there's no anything that's possibly going to cause RNG, there's no retribution, nothing like that. Everything should be consistent. All we have is extra crit rate, extra crit damage, some healing when we're below 50% HP, some damage against targets with higher max HP, which I'm going to go ahead and tell you, everybody we go against is going to have higher max HP than these champions because their HP is very low. 27,000, pretty bad. We are on the test server, by the way, so I'm not going to be able to do any arena testing, unfortunately. But then we have this ability, which is not related to RNG. We have this also not related to RNG. And then we have Flawless Execution, not related to RNG. Everything else on the bottom row does have some RNG component to it. This is definitely not the ideal mastery setup. So if you're a new player, don't use this as what you should use. This is just to boost our stats a little bit so we can have a decent comparison. Now, first things first, let's compare their base stats. Also, when we're doing these comparisons, it's the exact same gear. So you'll see that Athel has lifesteal plus speed, and Elhain has nothing. So I'm going to take Athel's gear right over to Elhain, no changes whatsoever, and use the exact same stuff. The reason why that's so important versus balancing the stats is because, as you can see with their base stats, Athel has 13,000 HP, 1,100 attack. You can see everything here. But when we switch over to Elhain, you'll see that the defense is in red, the attack goes in green, HP is in green, so you can see which champion has better base stats. You can see Athel has lower speed, lower attack as well, I believe. So let's see it one more time. Lower speed, lower attack, and lower HP. Whereas Elhain has higher attack, higher HP, and higher speed. Obviously, she has higher of what Athel has lower. That's not requiring rocket science. But either way, let's go ahead and jump in here with the first test, guys. Athel, let's take her into Dragon Stage 23. So with our Dragon Stage 23 test, honestly, let's not do Dragon Stage 23. Let's do Dragon Stage 16. These champions are pretty lowly geared. There's no accessories because if you probably know in your account, if you have accessories on your champions, you probably have amazing accessories in, say, High Elves, but then not so good of accessories in, say, Sacred Order. Okay, just for example. So to balance it out, we're going to make sure everything is as even as possible. We're going to use Arbiter for the increased attack, and then we're going to use Ghostborn for the decreased defense. Arbiter for increased attack. Actually, no. We just need Ghostborn. And if you guys want to see Gallic compared to somebody, let me know. If you want the loser of this one to go against Gallic, let me know. Now, obviously, this is not going to be the end-all, the be-all, end-all, whatever. There we go. So Athel went ahead and jumped ahead of us. She did, let's see, in the first wave, she did a total of 150,000. Let's go ahead and try that one more time. So Ghostborn opens up with the A3 ability. The decreased defense on everybody can't be resisted, plus the increased attack on Athel. Now this makes it a little bit weird because Athel, in her kit, always places a 25% increased attack on herself. So this is going to skew things just a little bit, but we can hopefully see that work itself out in the Minotaur or the Clan Boss. So we're going to keep things as fair as possible. Obviously, it's not going to be the solid test that determines, hey, this champion is the best, period. Okay, so here we go. Athel's going to do her A2 ability, 150,000 on the first run, and the second run has 143,000 damage. So we'll call it 145,000 damage. Actually, no, I'll add each one. So 150 the first one, and then 143 the second run. Obviously, there's going to be some variation, but that's not a huge deal. We will continue as we are. So Dragon Stage 16. Let's make sure we know that's the case. Make sure this is for Athel. There we go. Now let's go to Minotaur. For Minotaur, I tried to do stage 15, but I just couldn't do it because the champions are not quite good enough in the gear they're currently in. I'm going to do this in full auto, though. I want to make sure they both have the best possible comparison. So I'm going to start it with full auto. There we go. Full auto, no time's going to be changed. I want to make sure that the champions do it as fast as possible and that they're not getting gypped by me not doing the auto as soon as we start. So either way, let's see how this actually works. And the goal here is not going to be the damage, okay? Obviously, they're going to both do the same amount of damage because everything here has the exact same amount of HP. So what we're looking for here is how fast they can clear this dungeon. With Clan Boss, it's going to be damage related because in Clan Boss, it's just run it until you're done. And then, yeah, how much damage you do. Survivability and everything's going to play a factor there. Obviously, War Master and Giant Slayer is going to make a huge difference. 37 seconds on that first run. Let's try it one more time. So Minnow is going to be 37 seconds. And then we'll do Clan Boss after that. We'll probably skip the Clan Boss run. We'll have to see. I don't know how fast they're going to fail or not. Maybe we do a harder difficulty of Clan Boss. But I want to make sure it's a pretty good test, but obviously not taking forever either, right? So 37 seconds on that first run. Hopefully we have a pretty consistent time here. So then we can just, hey, chalk it up to, hey, solid 37, solid 40 seconds, no problem. 31 seconds. Okay, so a little variation there. Not anything drastic, but I guess we'll have to see when it comes to Elhain's testing on how close and if there's any tiebreakers that need to happen. So Clan Boss is next. Let's go ahead and go do some Clan Boss action. Now, if this was on stream, I'd ask which difficulty Clan Boss I should be hitting. Easy, normal, or hard. I'm thinking normal is going to be the best one because it will give us a couple hits. We'll see how long we survive. That's going to be the best thing. Because if we survive too long, it's just going to take forever. If we die too fast, it's not going to be a good test. This should be a pretty good test, though. We'll get a decent amount of turns against the Clan Boss. Should be able to see kind of the damage. Obviously, each champion is going to have its benefits as far as the War Master and Giant Slayer and how they work. I believe Elhain can actually proc War Master twice off of her abilities. I forget which one, but it's coded a little different. So she's going to have probably a little bit of an advantage in that aspect. Whereas Athel is bringing a weaken, which is going to help the rest of your team. So they both have different benefits that I know of. Now, I haven't done these tests yet, so I really don't know what to expect, to be honest, and I'm kind of looking forward to finding out what actually happens. So this run may take a little while. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward it to the end of the run, so we're not here all day. So guys, the first run of the Clan Boss is done, and Athel did 1.1 million damage, so we're going to make sure to have all these numbers in there correctly. So 1,107,840. Now, I'm going to do one more Clan Boss run for Athel to make sure this is relatively consistent numbers, so I will be right back as soon as the next Clan Boss run is finished. So guys, now our second Clan Boss run is finished. Athel came out with 1,124,224 damage, which is actually pretty close to the one she did the first time, which is awesome because I don't want to have runs that fail at like 800,000 after she does over 1 million. So now, let's take Athel out of here. We're doing all Void Affinity Clan Boss runs, of course. We're going to go over here to Elhain, put her in the exact same gear that Athel had, and then test her under the exact same conditions we did Athel, and see who does better. Go ahead and leave your vote down below. Who do you think is going to win out during this event? Me personally, I think Athel's going to win. I think in this solo test that she has quite the advantage. She has the weaken. She has increased attack plus increased defense. So by herself, I really think that she's going to do better than Elhain. But Elhain does bring some more AoE damage. So in areas like Minotaur, she may win out quite a bit. Honestly, campaign run may not be a bad area to test them. I guess that could be a tiebreaker, depending on how the results come out. Maybe we could test them out over there as well. So let's go ahead and throw that gear on her. She's going to have a little more speed because she has more base speed, of course, remember? All right, so here we go. Elhain into Dragon Stage 16 is what I did, right? So Dragon Stage 16, Minotaur Stage 11. Here we go. Let's see how it's done. Put in Elhain instead of Ghostborn. Or sorry, Elhain instead of Athel. Obviously, we don't want to use Ghostborn instead of, well, either way, you get the point. We have Elhain in here. We had Athel in here. Let's see now. Elhain does have 2 AoE abilities. She has this one, which gives her crit rate, which the condition is not that good, to be honest. Has an extra 15% chance of inflicting a critical hit. Places a 30% increased crit rate buff on this champion for 3 turns if a target is killed. I don't love that. But her A3, we'll start with that. It does, everybody, let's see. She did with her A3 ability, she did 161,000 damage. Athel earlier did 150,000. Okay, so Elhain's A3 in Dragon Stage 16. Let's see, 164. Is that what I said? 161. Okay, so 161K. And then the second run, let's see what she does. And then we'll test out her A2, but I'm pretty sure, like 100% sure, her A3 is just the hardest hitting, period. So here we go. Next run, she did 157,000. So, oh, actually, it's a decent chunk higher. I mean, her first one was 11,000 higher, and her second one was, what, 14,000 higher? That's actually a pretty good difference. So let's check out Elhain's A2 just one time to see an idea of how much damage we're going to do. Okay, so it's actually pretty decent. She did 103,000. So not quite as high as Athel from her only AoE ability that Athel has. Athel only has 2 abilities, but still some really good damage from another AoE skill that Elhain has in her kit. Now let's go ahead and move over to Minotaur. Minotaur stage 11, just using Elhain. Let's see how this plays out. Honestly, Elhain's, okay, we got to go ahead and restart this because I want to make sure they start with auto already enabled. There we go, perfect. We have auto on, and Elhain is doing some work going through the first wave very, very quickly. If we had the cycle of violence, that could be really good for both these champions. Reducing their cooldowns of their AoE ability could definitely help get through the waves quicker. 14 seconds going to the Minotaur. This is where it's going to be the biggest difference. We don't have the increased attack. We don't have the weaken on the Minotaur, so Elhain's going to begin to slow down. I don't think Elhain's kit and her benefits are as good as Athel. Athel has a weaken, which is good always, and Athel also has increased attack. Hey, there we go. 32 seconds. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong. But Athel, I think, is more built for team synergy, whereas Elhain, her A2 requires her to actually kill somebody in order to get that crit rate. I don't love that. I think it's so situational that you just can't build her with 70% crit rate. Whereas Athel, you just build her, you use her for the increased attack for a while, but then when you get a 50% increased attack champion, like a Ghostborn, like a Gore Grab, better yet, an Arbiter, whatever it may be, it's just so much better in general. That's for Arena. We're not testing Arena, but hey, I'm saying all this just as my thoughts, but to be honest, this is going to prove to us which champion is doing it better. I mean, you can't really argue with what's in front of us, right? So we're actually making some pretty good time. 32 seconds again. Okay, Elhain, you actually beat out Athel. So 32 seconds, 2 times in a row, very consistent, whereas Athel was 37 and to 31. All right. Okay, color me impressed. We're going to go over to Clan Boss now. Check out normal Clan Boss. Let's see how Elhain can do. So we're going to do the same thing as we did with Athel. We're going to start this up, and then I will see you guys at the end of this Clan Boss run right here. Dang, so the first run of Clan Boss is finished, and Elhain ends at 977,000 damage done to the Clan Boss, which, to be honest, is actually more than I expected her to do. We're going to run it one more time to see what she does, and we will be right back. So the end of the Clan Boss round 2 is 936,000 damage for Elhain, which compared to Athel's 1.1 million into 1.12 million, very consistent on both of these runs actually. Athel obviously wins. So right now we have the victory for Athel going to, let's see, for Minotaur, Elhain won. So Elhain won Minotaur, and then Clan Boss goes to Athel, and then Dragon goes to Elhain. So right now I'm kind of curious because I understand why Elhain won in Dragon is because Athel gives herself buffs. So if we didn't bring an increased attack champion, Athel would do more damage. We can kind of see that from Clan Boss. Granted, the weaken was placed, but Athel is going to have the plus 25% attack, so she's probably just going to do more damage. Honestly, that's probably what we do to break this tie. Let's see. Let's go into Dragon. Dragon stage, I said 13, right? Dragon stage 16. Let's just use Elhain, and then we'll just use Athel and see which champion does what. So her A3 ability, we'll just compare their A3, their hard-hitting ability. So Elhain's A3 ability, 60,000. So the tiebreaker, 60K. And then we'll do it one more time to see, because it's actually fairly comparable between the two. The big differences are going to be what your team is, how your team functions, so on and so forth. 60,000 again, so we'll just leave it as it is. Let's go to campaign one time and see how quickly they do. Brutal, chapter 12. Okay, we got the test service, so we got to go through that little tutorial thing again. Chapter 12, Stage 3. We're not going to use food. We're just going to use Elhain by herself. No food, nothing. She should do it pretty quick. I'd say under 20 seconds. I think she's going to be faster than Athel, but I guess we'll find out soon enough, right? She's popping off, though, that's for sure. She has so many AoE abilities, well, 2, which is a huge help when going through things like the campaign. So, okay, so 17 seconds. I don't think Athel's going to be able to do it nearly that fast, so we'll just leave it as it is. Jump in here real quick, switch over Athel's gear, and see how she performs with the current setup. So I'll be right back as soon as the gear's switched. All right, so we got the gear successfully swapped over to Athel. Let's go ahead and try out the campaign since we're already here. Let's see how fast Athel does it. Now, I'm thinking that Elhain's going to do it faster, but maybe we're going to be impressed. Maybe I'm going to be surprised. So, Athel, I think we're on the same stage, right? Whoa, 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 whoa. She's doing it way fast. Okay, so 14 seconds, they get cut in right there because we don't have that AoE ability ready yet. It may end up being exactly the same. Okay, we're going to call that right at the same. I mean, 17 seconds, 18 seconds, so small a difference. That's actually very impressive. So Athel and Elhain basically tied on the campaign. I mean, 1 second difference if you want to give it to Elhain, but either way, super close. Now this is probably going to be the tiebreaker. Right here, Dragon Stage 16. We'll try this. Take out Elhain, throw in Athel. Let's see how much damage she does buffing herself. Wait, no, she didn't buff herself. Yo, Athel, what are you doing? You literally have an increased attack that you decided just not to use. So she's always going to use that, right? There's no reason for her to not use that. Boom, there we go. That A2 ability. And let's exit the battle. She did 71,000 damage. Okay. So she did more damage, but she had 25% increased attack. Okay, let's try it one more time. Increase attack again. A2 ability. Just out of curiosity. And then she's done 68,000 damage. Okay, this is interesting because what I'm seeing here is that while Athel does do more damage by herself than Elhain, it's not that significant. She did 68,000 damage, Athel did 68,000 damage on Dragon Stage 16, whereas Elhain did 60,000. Elhain has no extra buffs, no extra 25% attack, so she's just running off her base damage, right? On Dragon, alongside Ghostborn, Elhain did a respectable amount more damage than Athel did. On Clan Boss, Athel did win, so Athel won Clan Boss, and then that's really all. So as far as which champions moving into round 2 with Kale, I think it's got to go to Elhain, to be honest. I mean, she did Minotaur faster, respectively faster as well, consistently. She did Clan Boss less, but not significantly. And then she did better in Dragon, technically faster in Campaign, but very small difference. Now, with that said, both of these champions are going to have their pros, especially when you start using them in your teams. So Athel is going to do very good with Giant Slayer. Elhain is going to do very good with War Master. I'm pretty sure her A1 can actually proc War Master twice, or it's her A2. One of her skills can proc War Master twice, which is very interesting. Her A3, she has 2 AoE abilities, which is great for wave clear. Athel has a pretty hard-hitting A1, so both the champions are good. Athel is going to benefit your team in general with that weaken debuff placed, so she's going to be better for Clan Boss. Athel's going to be better for Clan Boss. Elhain's going to be better for wave clearing, damage dealing in general, more of a champion who excels on her own, and then with a team she does even better. So there we go. I think Elhain's going to be moving on to the next round with Kale, but both these champions fared very similarly. I'm kind of curious how Athel would do against Gallic. Maybe we make that video next. But with that said, guys, let me know how you like this. Let me know if you guys enjoy this kind of video, and I will catch you all in the Elhain versus Kale video coming up very soon.